Hello, and welcome to hole number 10 at the Cranbrook College of the Rockies. This hole plays slightly downhill and slightly to the left through these trees to a round green with a kind of death putt hill behind it. One thing I want to talk about is the distances. It says 432 feet on the U-disc and 460 feet for the previous hole, hole 9 from the other video. I'd say this hole plays longer than that one, and the T sign says it plays over 500 feet, if I remember correctly. I don't know what you guys think, but I'd say it's probably about 475. I'm throwing a boss here. I like to go outside around that tree. That way you fall into the green. If you stay left, you kind of end up trapped in tree jail. However, I hit the tree and don't go around it. It knocks me down short. Katelynn, I think she's throwing a seer here. Up, gets it a little higher than she wanted, and ends up kind of in the trees on the left side. Going for the hyzer play with the seer again. Kind of come around wide and hits the same branch that I did off the tee. Here I'm throwing a champion rhino, and I pushed it a little too hard and hit one of the trees coming in. You can see Katelynn's disc off to the side. She's going to throw a jawbreaker magnet on an anhyzer, have it come around, but she also hits a tree branch and drops. You can see the hill behind, and looking at it looks like I lay up, but I actually was just really scared trying to hook it over the rim of the basket, and I was a little too soft with it. Katelynn's putt, she just lays up because she knows about the hill, and she almost rolls over. She taps hers in while I'm walking up, and this is where I get a little sad. Picking it up, thinking I'm just kind of tapping in. I hit dead center, but a little high, and it kicks it out. In my head, I was refusing to believe that, so I just wanted to putt it in again. No mulligans in casual rounds, though, so I did take what would be the tap-in 5 from where it dropped. Hole 11, this is another U-disc special. It's saying 308 feet. The T sign, I think, says 390. It plays deceptively uphill and into this little gap. Usually the plays here are the flex forehand to make sure you get past the trees, or a backhand hyzer flip. Occasionally you'll see someone try and just pump it straight, but not very often. I'm throwing a renegade on hyzer flip here, and I just totally early released it and was not super happy. Probably a little tilted after my performance on the last hole. You can see the faces I'm making, trying to make light of it, but I was a little upset. Katelynn is going to step up here, and she's going seer again. Thinking real hard about it. And then, yeah, early releases as well. So we're hanging out together on the left side. She's just before the gap, so she's going to try and get the forehand Annie to go all the way around the corner and in. And it fights out early. Here was another funny one. I didn't end up in as bad a spot as I thought. Still quite short. The tree is just perfectly in my way on both sides, but I'm not much for jump putting unless I really have to, so just try and get it high enough, and it was about 6 inches short of going in. Katelynn thinks she's in the frame, so she throws her up shot. You can see my face. She also gets mad at here and tries to give me a stroke penalty for putting out a turn. So, hole 12, it's straight through this gap, and then slightly downhill and to the left into this group of trees. Some people kind of go short the direction that's open, that the camera's following. Myself and a lot of other guys will try and go higher and then cut in through the trees. It's not too bad, and you'll usually get through. Throwing a one-time rock 3, and sits up more than I expected for sure, but it's coming down the way I like it. Should be perfect, but hits the bottom of the tree and actually rolls a fair way away. Usually I'll get that same shot to skip, and it's a pretty easy tap in. Katelynn is not super happy with her high shots, so she decides to try and go putter here instead of taking off more with the driver, and she leaves herself in pretty much perfect position for that the gap you saw in the video. Just lines it up, little hyzer, and boom, perfectly hits the gap right beside the basket. Mine, I'm pretty obstructed, but you can see that gap I have, and tried to hyzer around the tree, but I did not. Katelynn was joking. I told her to tap out, but kept saying that I was a way to rub it in, that she had a better shot than me. Hole 13, 344 feet. Again, I think this hole is easily shorter than the last two, and it's saying on UDisc that it's 40 feet further. You're going straight, turning right over this big rock, and it's fairly open. This one, it's usually a pretty easy two unless you happen to hit an early tree. Here, that's me throwing a swan. It gets the nice turn I wanted, but I just left the line of the shot way too far left, and I didn't get over the rock. Katelynn throwing a magnet again. Saw the success of her putter last time and wants to do it again. Giving it a rip, but leaves it a little farther left than she wanted for sure. Just gonna try and go up and around the rock, and definitely doesn't give it enough juice. Leaves it quite a bit short. You can see in her face she was really not happy about that one. Me, again, kind of half running it. Nothing really to be worried about on that putt there. And then we don't both tap in. Katelynn has a longer putt, and yeah, she's got such a strange putting style that if she's off to the side, there's not a lot of a chance. Tap mine in. That was high again. I got really nervous with that one in the air that I was going to spit out again. So hole 14. This one's really straightforward. 275 feet, dead straight. These trees in the middle do come into play fairly often. If you can throw it dead straight through this left gap that the camera's moving through, you'll have no problems. Usually I take the gap on the right side with a more overstable disc. It works out really nice. Katelynn decides she wants to tee off first, even though it's not her turn. Should have gave her the penalty. But she just doesn't get a lot on that one. Trying to go putter again. And I'm throwing a fusion judge here. There's a bit of wind, bumps it up, and I threw too high to start with, so I tree out, take it a little too wide, and end up landing way short. Here's Katelynn's. She hits a tree again, unfortunately. Kicks her off to the left. I remember she was telling me this one just felt like it was just outside of her range, so she goes to more of a throwing stance, and it doesn't work out so good. Myself approaching mine. And I hit the cage. I really wanted that one after the last hole's not going super well, but you also don't really want to have to take a 3 on a hole this straightforward and this short, but I guess I did. Katelynn leaving her backpack on, feeling pretty dejected about her next miss putt, but that's how it goes in the game of disc golf. And then I'm just going to tap mine in. Off camera, I'm talking a little bit of smack to her because she was forcing it earlier. Hole 15 is a straight, fairly narrow fairway that opens up to the natural landing zone for any of the shots, and then ends up in the basket on the right. Here, there's a hill on the backside, so it is a bit of a death putt. With this hard ground, it does like to roll away. So I'm going for a renegade again, trying to throw it with a little bit of hyzer, have it flip all the way over right at the end. And I think it's working out fairly well. It starts turning nicely, but it fights out of it at the end. I just needed a little more angle or a little more speed on that throw. Katelynn going sear. And she grip walks it. But luckily it fights through all the trees and it's a lot better off than it could have been. Just going with a sting here. Trying to get around all these trees into a nice landing zone. And she hangs onto it too long again. But just like the last one, it ends up missing all the trees miraculously and she ends up in a very good spot. Here's where I landed. My disc kind of fought out of the turn. As you can see, if it would have kept going, it would have been very nice. And I kind of half run this one because I'm scared of the hillside at the back. If it rolls down behind those trees, it's really, really hard to get back out. And Katelynn's probably going to do the same thing here. Which, no, she might have just hung on to it a little long. But she's right there to tap in, and so am I. This is hole number 16. U-disc says 296 feet. I'd say that's fairly accurate, maybe the low 300s. The fairway is fairly open here. You can choose to go left where the camera's walking or right in the gap we just passed. This left gap is really only open to like a flex forehand or late flip backhand. As you can see, the pin has a nice green, but is super protected by those trees in front. Throwing a plasma volt, getting it out to the right side, but I hit a tree and kick right, and it's not a very good kick. You can see I'm very happy about that. Katelynn here, following her trend from before, just wants to go putter-putter on every hole. And that's what she's going to do, but she leaves hers in kind of an awkward spot, forced to go with that real hard turnover backhand, and she kind of rolls around the basket and wide. Not a great result here. I'm 30 short of pin high and quite left here. I kind of throw putt it and it ends up fading out. It's not a very good effort there. Katelynn hoping to bang this one in, save the par. And off the top, not very impressed with herself there. My par save, again, taking it too casual. That one wasn't a spit out so much as I just left it too far to the right. And we're both saying, screw the camera. We're just gonna putt in from outside the frame because we're both grumpy about our putts. And Katelynn hits the cage. Very, very, very impressed. Hole 17, 190 feet. I'd say it's maybe a little farther than that, but it's hard to tell. Maybe low 200s. Very protected, kind of hallway tunnel shot. The green also has a bunch of trees, so even a good shot can get knocked way out and put you in jail. Throwing a fusion judge, pumped it. What was an ace run line but low, and it skidded so much on that hard packed dirt that it actually ended up about 15 feet long. Katelynn going forehand with the sear with the big flex, and she kind of gets the center of the fairway, so she's happy. Not super far, but nice spot. She just lays up because she knows the dangers that can happen if you miss or get stuck behind these trees, and she taps in for her 3. I've got my little 15-footer, and yeah, I got the birdie. I was happy about that one. Hole 18, it's 243 feet, plays over this gully that I'm walking through right now, and kind of to the right. It's fairly protected. There's a lot of trees in the way, but there's very defined kind of line to the basket here. Not super wide, like I said. If you hit a tree in here, you are liable to kind of get a bad lie that's hard to get out of, but the big mistake is to hit an early tree and end up in the gully, because tomahawking out can be just as dangerous. throwing a swan, and I like the power I had on it, but just turned a little too much. Need to get some more hyzer on it. Katelynn cranking out a sting, hangs onto it a little too long, but it gets through the trees and stays up, so she is safe. You can see she's really happy with that because it is ugly down in there. Katelynn second, going for the Annie upshot, ends up a little short, but not a bad spot. Mine ended up pin high, like I said, turned a little too much, so I'm right of the basket, but easy putt around that tree, and I get the birdie. Pretty happy about that one, because if you get behind the trees, you can be in a very bad spot. Katelynn's gonna 2-putt here, and that will bring us to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.